There comes a time in every person's life when everything feels confusing. You plan something carefully, but it doesn't happen. You love deeply, and yet you lose. You try your best, but life keeps saying no. And you wonder, why is this happening to me? Every moment in your life carries a message, but most people are too distracted to notice it. Life is constantly communicating with you through experiences, emotions, and even silence. When things go right, it's speaking. When things fall apart, it's still speaking. But the problem is, we only listen when life is gentle, and we completely ignore it when it's trying to wake us up through discomfort. Every joy, every delay, every loss, and every coincidence, they all have meaning behind them. There's no such thing as a random moment when you start seeing the deeper pattern in your journey. Sometimes life doesn't need to shout, it whispers. It uses the ordinary to send extraordinary signs. The things you consider small, a conversation that changes your mood, a stranger's words that strike your heart, an opportunity that appears out of nowhere. They're all part of that hidden communication. You may think it's just chance, but it's not. These are moments carefully placed to guide your thinking, to shift your direction, to strengthen your spirit. Life speaks a language beyond words. It speaks through events, timing, and feelings that you can't explain. The key is awareness. Once you open your heart to understand that what's happening to you is actually happening for you, you start to listen differently. There are times when everything feels confusing, doors close, people walk away, dreams fall apart. You question, you doubt, and you wonder why nothing seems to work. But that's exactly when life is trying to tell you something important. It's saying, this path isn't meant for you. It's saying, pause and realign. It's saying, you're being redirected. The mistake many people make is thinking that when things go wrong, they've failed. But sometimes the wrong road has to collapse before you can find the right one. Life doesn't always communicate through comfort. It often speaks through correction. It allows you to feel lost just to make you seek meaning. When you start paying attention, you realize there's a pattern in the timing of things. Certain moments arrive exactly when you need them, not when you want them. You might meet someone at a strange time, face a setback that forces you to grow, or encounter a challenge that teaches you humility. These are not accidents. They are messages crafted to prepare you for what's ahead. Life knows how to teach without words. It knows how to stop you from destroying yourself. It knows how to slow you down when you're moving too fast. You might resist it, but deep down, some of your greatest growth came from the moments that hurt the most. Every challenge has a voice. Every disappointment carries wisdom. Every delay hides a direction. When you miss something you thought you needed, life is not taking it away to punish you. It's protecting you from something unseen. You may cry today, but one day you'll look back and realize the message was always there. You were never being abandoned. You were being guided. The hardest part is trusting that message when you can't yet see the full picture. But that's where your awareness must deepen, because listening to life means trusting the process even when it makes no sense. Think about the times you've ignored the signs. You felt uneasy about a choice, but you went ahead anyway and it fell apart. That was life trying to warn you before it had to teach you. Or maybe you lost something and felt broken, only to realize later that losing it brought you peace. That was life trying to show you that your peace was more valuable than what you were chasing. The messages are constant, but they require stillness, reflection, and honesty. They require you to stop living on autopilot and start noticing what's being shown to you in every situation. Life doesn't repeat the same lesson because it enjoys seeing you struggle. It repeats it because you didn't hear the message the first time. Every recurring pain, every familiar disappointment is a gentle echo of a truth you still need to learn. Maybe it's about patience, maybe it's about self-worth, maybe it's about letting go. Whatever it is, the message won't stop arriving until you finally listen. The moment you begin to see life as a messenger instead of a mystery, everything changes. You stop fighting what's happening and start learning from it. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this trying to show me? That shift in mindset opens a new level of peace because you realize nothing is wasted. Even the moments that broke you were preparing you for what you're becoming. So remember, the most important messages aren't always spoken. They're felt, they're experienced. They're hidden in the rhythm of your days, in your setbacks, your successes, your pauses, and your restarts. Life is constantly trying to guide you, shape you, and remind you of who you truly are. But you can only hear it when you slow down, silence the noise, and truly listen. Because the truth is, the message has always been there, waiting for you to finally pay attention. The truth is, life is always sending signals, but we often mistake them for coincidences or random moments. The signs are there, in the delays, in the heartbreaks, in the rejections, in the unexpected turns. You may not hear a voice, but you'll feel it in the way things unfold. Every time a door closes when you were so sure it would open, every time someone walks away when you thought they would stay, every time something doesn't go as planned, those are not meaningless events. They are signs. They are life's way of saying, this is not your path, or not yet. But most people are too busy fighting what's happening to realize that what they call obstacles are actually messages pointing them in a better direction. Think about it. How many times have you forced something to work only to realize later that it wasn't meant for you? How many times did you hold on to something that was breaking you just because you were afraid to let it go? Sometimes life doesn't take away what you love to hurt you. It does so to protect you. It knows what you don't, sees what you can't. The sign you ignore today often becomes the lesson you learn tomorrow. And when you finally look back, you'll realize that what felt like an ending was really a form of rescue. The hardest part is that these signs rarely make sense in the moment. You can't see the reason when you're in pain. You only see the loss. But signs are not meant to comfort you immediately. They are meant to direct you eventually. A closed door is not rejection, it's protection. A delay is not punishment, it's preparation. The pain that forced you to change was not cruelty, it was correction. But in order to understand that, you have to learn to stop fighting against what's happening and start asking what it's trying to show you. When something doesn't work out, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what am I supposed to learn from this? That simple question changes everything. It turns frustration into understanding and confusion into clarity. It's a shift in perception that allows you to see the signs for what they truly are, not barriers, but directions. Life communicates through redirections more than through approvals. Every time something doesn't go your way, it's simply saying, you're not meant to go this way. There are times when life removes people from your journey without warning. It hurts, but that too is a sign. Some people are not meant to go where you're heading. Their chapter in your life has served its purpose, and holding on to them longer would only delay your growth. The same applies to opportunities that vanish suddenly or dreams that fall apart. You might not see it now, but there's something in that loss that is guiding you toward what's truly yours. The signs don't always come dressed in beauty. Sometimes they come disguised as disappointment. But even disappointment has a direction if you're willing to look deeper. The signs you ignore are often the ones that could have saved you pain later. That uneasy feeling you get before making a choice, the quiet intuition that whispers, something's not right, the repeated obstacles that stop your progress, these are messages. Yet most people silence them because they want things to go their way. But life's wisdom doesn't operate on your comfort, it operates on your growth. When you choose to listen, even when it's uncomfortable, you align yourself with a greater flow. You see, life never truly leaves you without guidance. It's always sending clues through patterns, through people, through experiences that keep repeating until you pay attention. If you keep finding yourself in the same kind of painful situation, that's not bad luck. That's a sign that there's a lesson you still haven't learned. If the same kind of people keep hurting you, maybe the sign is to recognize your worth and stop accepting less than you deserve. The signs won't stop until you understand them, and the lessons won't end until you apply them. The beauty of recognizing these signs is that it changes the way you experience life. You stop chasing everything and start trusting the flow. You no longer see setbacks as the end, but as guidance. You begin to notice how everything connects, how a missed opportunity led you to something better, how a broken heart made you stronger, how silence prepared you for clarity. What once felt like chaos starts to make sense because you've learned to read between the lines of your own story. So when life removes something from your hands, don't always rush to grab it back. Step back and observe. Maybe the sign isn't saying, you've lost. Maybe it's saying, it's time to move. Maybe it's not ending something. Maybe it's redirecting you toward what was meant for you all along. The signs are always there, but you can only see them when you stop resisting and start trusting. Every no, every delay, every change, they're not random events. They're coded messages meant to lead you toward peace, purpose, and growth. Learn to read them, and you'll realize that even the moments that broke you are actually building you for something far greater than you imagined. Pain is one of life's greatest messengers, though it's the one we try hardest to avoid. When it arrives, it shakes everything we thought was certain. It takes away our comfort, our control, and sometimes even our sense of who we are. But beneath its sting lies something sacred, a message that could change the direction of your entire life if you only stopped running from it long enough to listen. Pain never comes without a reason. It's not random, it's not meaningless, and it's not here to destroy you. It comes to awaken you, to force you to look at the parts of your life you've ignored, and to make you stronger in ways comfort never could. Think about it. When everything is easy, we rarely reflect. We drift through life assuming everything will stay the same. But when pain enters, it forces us to question. It breaks the illusions we've built and makes us confront truths we've been avoiding. That heartbreak you thought you'd never survive, it taught you how to value yourself. That failure that embarrassed you, it pushed you to grow in ways success never would have. Pain doesn't take something from you without offering something back. But you only see the gift after you stop fighting the lesson. Most people see pain as punishment, but it's not. It's communication. It's a signal that something in your life needs to change. A mindset, a habit, a relationship, or maybe your entire direction. The discomfort you feel is a push toward growth. Just as your body uses pain to alert you to injury, life uses emotional pain to alert you to misalignment. When you feel lost, when you're hurting deeply, that's often the universe telling you, you can't stay where you are anymore. It's a call to evolve, to shed an old version of yourself that no longer fits the person you're becoming. Pain also reveals what truly matters. When you're stripped of what's temporary, you begin to see what's eternal. You realize that people, titles, and possessions can be taken away, but strength, patience, and wisdom stay. Pain refines your focus. It burns away distractions and teaches you to value peace more than pleasure. It's the fire that purifies the heart. Without it, we would stay shallow, unchanged, and unaware of our real depth. The moments that break you are also the ones that reveal you. There's a strange beauty in the way pain humbles us. It reminds us that we're not in control of everything. It softens arrogance and replaces it with compassion. When you've suffered, you look at others differently. You stop judging and start understanding. Pain doesn't just build strength, it builds empathy. It gives you eyes that can see beyond appearances, words that can heal others, and a heart that recognizes what truly matters. That's why the people who have gone through the hardest things often carry the deepest wisdom. They've heard the message hidden in their pain. But to hear that message, you have to stop running from it. So many people try to escape pain by distracting themselves, pretending everything is fine, or numbing their emotions. But avoidance doesn't make pain disappear. It just delays its lesson. When you sit with your pain, when you allow yourself to feel it, you discover that it's not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's trying to show you where you've been holding on too tightly, where you've been settling for less, where you've forgotten your own worth. The tears you shed are not signs of weakness. They're the release that allows new strength to grow. Sometimes pain enters your life to push you toward a path you never would have chosen otherwise. If everything stayed easy, you would never change directions, never question yourself, never evolve. But pain disrupts your comfort so you can discover your capacity. It pushes you toward hidden potential. It breaks what needs to be broken so something better can be built. The job you lost, the relationship that ended, the plan that failed, they may have felt like tragedies. But one day you'll look back and see them as turning points. And that's the secret most people never understand. Pain isn't against you. It's working for you. It strips away what's false so the truth can emerge. It forces you to grow roots when you'd rather stay shallow. It prepares you for blessings you couldn't handle before. When you start viewing pain as a messenger instead of a punishment, your entire perspective changes. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Every scar you carry tells a story, not of defeat, but of transformation. It's proof that you faced what was meant to break you and still chose to rise. The pain that once made you cry becomes the wisdom that helps others heal. It's not about avoiding pain, it's about using it. Because pain is the price of depth, the seed of strength, and the birthplace of purpose. So when it hurts, don't curse the pain, listen to it. It's speaking in the only language strong enough to reach your heart. It's saying, you're ready to grow. It's saying, you can't stay the same. And when you finally understand that, you realize that pain never came to end you, it came to transform you. There are moments in life when everything seems to stand still. You've done everything you could. You've tried, you've prayed, you've waited, and still nothing seems to move. It's in those silent pauses when doors remain closed and progress feels impossible that frustration begins to grow. You start to wonder if you're being ignored, if your efforts are meaningless, if time itself has turned against you. But what if those delays aren't punishments? What if they're directions? What if the waiting isn't a sign of failure, but a sign that something greater is being prepared for you? Something you wouldn't be ready for if it arrived too soon. Delay is not denial, it's preparation. Every time life pauses your plans, it's refining your strength, shaping your patience, and teaching you endurance. There's a rhythm to timing that you can't always see. Sometimes life holds you back because the road ahead isn't ready yet. And sometimes it's because you're not ready yet. The delay is the space where growth happens quietly, invisibly, and necessarily. You might not notice it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that the waiting time was never wasted. It was where your maturity was built, your resilience was formed, and your faith was strengthened. You see, we live in a world that glorifies speed. Everyone wants quick results, instant success, immediate answers. But life doesn't work that way. The most beautiful things take time to form. Just as seeds need seasons to break, roots to deepen, and sunlight to grow, your purpose also needs time to mature. If everything you wanted came when you asked for it, you'd never learn the patience and wisdom needed to handle it. The delay is part of the design. It's not there to frustrate you. It's there to prepare you. Think about all the times you wanted something so badly, only to realize later that you weren't ready for it back then. Maybe you wanted a certain opportunity, but if it had come too early, you wouldn't have appreciated it. Maybe you wished for success, but you needed to first learn humility. Or maybe you longed for something to stay, but you had to learn that not everything meant for you will come easily. Every delay is a silent teacher. It gives you what no fast victory ever could character. The space between where you are and where you want to be isn't empty, it's sacred. It's the place where life does its quietest, most transformative work. When things don't happen on your schedule, it's easy to grow restless. But patience isn't passive. It's an act of strength. It means trusting that the unseen process is still moving even when you can't feel it. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it's not happening. The roots grow before the bloom appears. The foundation is built before the walls rise. The delay you're facing is not a stop sign, it's a construction zone. Sometimes what feels like delay is actually protection. Maybe the door you wanted to open so badly would have led to harm. Maybe the person who left wasn't meant to stay. Maybe the opportunity that passed was only meant to make room for something better. When life says, wait, it's often saying, you deserve more. But because we can't see the full picture, we call it disappointment. Yet with time, every not yet begins to make sense. You start to see that life was never trying to hold you back. It was holding you together until the right time came. Waiting is one of the hardest lessons to learn, but it's also one of the most powerful. It teaches you to slow down, to breathe, and to trust that timing is not your enemy. The pause you're in is part of the process. While you're waiting, You're being shaped into the kind of person who can carry the blessings you once only dreamed of. The lessons you learn in the waiting, patience, gratitude, discipline, will sustain you when your moment finally arrives. Without those lessons, you might receive what you wanted but lose what truly matters. The truth is, delays are a form of direction. They reroute you when you're heading the wrong way, and they strengthen you when you're not yet ready for the weight of what's coming. Life doesn't delay to disappoint, it delays to develop. When you can't see the reason, that's when trust matters most. Because sometimes what looks like silence is actually life working behind the scenes, aligning people, timing, and circumstances perfectly in your favor. So the next time you feel stuck, remember this: waiting doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something is being built that's bigger than what you asked for. You're being refined, not rejected. You're being prepared, not punished. The delay you hate today might be the very thing that saves you tomorrow. And when the time finally comes, when everything falls into place effortlessly, you'll understand that the waiting was never in vain. It was simply life's way of saying, not yet, but soon. There are times in life when everything becomes quiet. You pray, you plan, you try your best, and still nothing seems to happen. The silence grows heavy. Days feel empty. You start to wonder if your efforts even matter anymore, if anyone is listening, if your voice has disappeared into the void. It's in those moments when the world stops responding that you begin to doubt yourself. But what if that silence isn't the absence of a message, but the message itself? What if the quiet you're experiencing is not a sign that life has forgotten you, but that you are being asked to stop, to listen, and to trust? Silence is not emptiness, it is a language of its own. It speaks in pauses, in stillness, in moments when nothing seems to move. You see, when life goes silent, it's not because you've been abandoned. It's because you're being invited to grow deeper within yourself. Noise can be comforting, but it can also distract you from hearing what's real. The quiet, on the other hand, strips everything away until all that's left is you. Your thoughts, your fears, your truth. That silence is not punishing you, it's purifying you. It's clearing space inside you so you can hear the whisper you've been missing all along. The silence between your efforts and their results is where trust is born. Everyone loves progress, no one loves waiting. But life knows that without silence, you'd never learn patience, and without patience, you'd never learn peace. When nothing is happening, something is happening, it's just not visible yet. The roots of a tree grow silently beneath the soil before the first leaf appears. The seed doesn't make noise while it transforms underground. In the same way, your growth happens quietly, away from the spotlight, in the hidden spaces of your heart. The silence you fear is often the preparation you need. Sometimes life goes quiet because you've been asking questions that can't be answered through words. You might be seeking direction, meaning, or clarity, but the answer doesn't always come as a sign or a voice. It comes through awareness, through stillness, through patience. When you're surrounded by noise, it's easy to mistake movement for progress. Silence breaks that illusion. It forces you to face yourself, to stop relying on distractions, to confront what's really inside. It's in that quiet space that you begin to see what truly matters and what doesn't. We often think silence means nothing is working, but it's usually the opposite. It's the pause before the breakthrough. It's the breath before the transformation. When you feel forgotten, that's often the moment when life is rearranging everything behind the scenes. You may not see the shifts, but they're happening. People are being moved, opportunities are aligning, timing is being adjusted. Oh, while you wait, the silence is the signal that something is coming, but you need to be still enough to receive it. The danger is that many people can't handle silence. They rush to fill it with noise, distractions, doubts, negativity. But silence is sacred. It's the space where you can hear your intuition again. It's where you can reconnect with peace. When life becomes quiet, don't fight it. Don't assume you've lost direction. Sit with it. The message hidden in silence often says, trust what you can't see. It says, you're not alone. You're being prepared. It says, slow down, breathe, and listen. Silence also teaches you emotional strength. It shows you how to hold faith when you don't have proof. It trains your patience when nothing around you is changing. It builds the kind of resilience that only comes from waiting without losing hope. There's a quiet power that grows in people who learn to remain calm when everything else seems still. They no longer panic in uncertainty because they've learned that silence is not absence. It's alignment. Every season of silence carries a hidden purpose. Sometimes you're being protected from something you're not ready for. Sometimes you're being refined so that when your moment comes, you'll be able to handle it with grace. And sometimes silence simply means you're being asked to appreciate stillness, to realize that peace doesn't depend on activity. You're learning to find calm even when there's no noise, no signs, and no visible progress. So if you find yourself in that quiet place right now, where prayers seem unanswered and nothing seems to move, don't mistake it for neglect. Don't assume that nothing is happening. Silence is often the proof that something sacred is taking place, something that can only be built in stillness. The waiting, the quiet, the pause, it's all part of your preparation. One day, when things finally start to move again, you'll look back and understand that the silence was not wasted time. It was the season where your roots grew deeper, where your patience was strengthened, and where your trust was tested and proven true. The message hidden in silence is simple but powerful. Even when you can't hear anything, something is still being spoken to your heart. You just have to be quiet enough to listen. The real question in life is never whether the message is being sent. It's whether you are willing to receive it. Every moment, every experience, every person that crosses your path carries meaning, but not everyone has the awareness to see it. Some people go through life asleep, repeating the same patterns, facing the same struggles, and wondering why nothing changes. It's not because life isn't speaking to them. It's because they've stopped listening. Awareness is the bridge between confusion and clarity. The moment you begin to open your heart to what life is trying to show you, everything starts to make sense. The same pain that once broke you becomes your teacher. The same delays that once frustrated you become your guidance. And the same silence that once scared you becomes your peace. Receiving the message requires humility, the ability to accept that you don't always know what's best for you. It takes a quiet strength to stop forcing outcomes and start observing what life is teaching through every situation. The problem is, most people want to hear only what fits their desires. They want answers that confirm what they already believe. But real growth happens when you're willing to listen to the uncomfortable truths, the ones that challenge your habits, your pride, your assumptions. Sometimes the message you're meant to receive is not keep going, but let go. Sometimes it's not fight harder, but surrender. Life doesn't always speak in the language of your wants, it speaks in the language of your needs. The ability to recognize these messages comes from awareness, and awareness comes from stillness. When you slow down and reflect, you start to see patterns, repeated experiences, familiar pains, recurring disappointments. These aren't coincidences. They're signals that something within you needs attention. If you keep attracting the same kind of struggle, that's not bad luck. It's life showing you the lesson you've been avoiding. The same cycle will continue until you choose to learn what it's trying to teach. Recognition is the first step toward transformation. Once you become aware, you can't go back to ignorance. The truth begins to shape how you live, how you choose, and how you see the world. But awareness alone isn't enough. You must respond. Once you understand the message, you're responsible for what you do with it. Life keeps sending reminders, but if you ignore them, the lessons grow louder. The discomfort increases, the patterns repeat more clearly until you finally listen. It's not punishment, it's persistence. Life doesn't stop teaching just because you stop paying attention. It keeps guiding you through losses, through pauses, through changes, until you finally wake up and realize that everything was working for your growth all along. Awareness changes how you move through life. You stop reacting emotionally to every difficulty and start asking, what is this moment trying to tell me? You no longer waste time blaming people or circumstances because you understand that everything happening around you is connected to something happening within you. When you become aware, pain becomes purpose, delay becomes direction, and silence becomes strength. You see meaning where others see misfortune. You recognize that nothing is random and that even your detours are part of the design. However, awareness requires courage. It's easier to blame the world than to look within. It's easier to repeat old patterns than to face uncomfortable change. But if you want to truly receive life's messages, you must be brave enough to confront your own reflection. The lessons you refuse to learn will follow you until you do. Awareness demands honesty, the willingness to admit where you've gone wrong, where you've been stubborn, and where you need to evolve. It's not an easy process, but it's a freeing one. Once you start to see clearly, you begin to live intentionally instead of emotionally. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming a student of your experiences. The beauty of becoming aware is that it transforms even ordinary moments into wisdom. A conversation, a failure, a random delay, everything becomes a message when you're paying attention. You start to see how life speaks in patterns, symbols, and timing. You begin to understand that people come into your life not by accident, but to play a part in your growth. Some to teach love, some to teach strength, and some to teach letting go. When you're awake to the messages, gratitude replaces frustration because even the hard moments start to make sense. Receiving the message also means living in alignment with it. Once you've seen the truth, don't ignore it. Don't go back to what hurt you just because it's familiar. Awareness without action is just observation. The real transformation begins when you start living according to what you've learned. That's when you shift from surviving to evolving, from confusion to clarity, from resistance to peace. So ask yourself, are you really listening? Are you paying attention to the signs life is placing before you? Because the truth is, the messages never stop. They only grow stronger in the parts of your life that still need healing. Awareness doesn't change the world around you immediately, but it changes how you move within it. And that's where the power lies. Once your eyes are open, once your heart understands, once you decide to respond with wisdom instead of emotion, everything begins to align. The same life that once confused you starts to guide you. The same pain that once broke you starts to build you. Because the messages were always there, waiting for you to finally receive them. So the next time something doesn't go your way, pause. Don't rush to label it as failure. Ask yourself, what is life trying to tell me through this? Because sometimes the message you need most isn't spoken in words. It's spoken through what you lose, what you wait for, and what you survive. And if you can hear that, truly hear it, you'll realize nothing that happens to you is meaningless. It's all part of a message, one designed to awaken the strongest, calmest, and most faithful version of you.